Through this reenactment, we bring history to life, offering a glimpse into the courage and sacrifice that shaped our identity as a people. Through this, we will be able to immerse ourselves in this powerful presentation and reflect on the lessons of heroism, unity, and love for our country. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the cast and crew as they take us back in time to that fateful day of September 28, 1901. Ladies and gentlemen, the reenactment of the Balangiga Encounter.
123 years ago, during the latter stages of the Philippine-American War, an incident considered as one of the bloodiest and worst single defeat, dubbed in history as the Balangiga Massacre, took place in this small town located at the southern coast of Samar Island, facing the Leyte Gulf. This fourth-class municipality, politically subdivided into 13 barangays, became a municipio on April 3, 1854, with Quinapondan, Hiporlos, and Lawaan as its barangays. September 27, 1859, Balangiga, from being a visita of Giwan, became a parish dedicated to St. Lawrence, Deacon and Martyr, with its feast day celebrated every 10th day of August. August 11, 1901, Company C of the 9th Infantry Regiment of the U.S. Army disembarked from the U.S. Army Transport Discom under the command of Captain Thomas W. Connell and First Lieutenant Edward Bumpus, second in command. The third officer was Major Richard Grizzle, the company's surgeon, with 17 non-commissioned officers and enlisted men. As a gesture of diplomacy, the captain and his men were welcomed by the Presidente Municipal Pedro Abayan, Kapitan Valeriano Abanador, the Chief of Police, and Father Donato Gimbao Libot, the parish priest. Balangiga was the third town in Samar to be occupied by the Americans after Diwan and Basay. Immediately, a civil government was organized and the Balangiganos were then asked to take an oath of allegiance to the government of the United States of America. As the Americans occupied the town, tight security measures were adopted around the camp. Armed guards patrolled 24 hours a day and checked passers-by during nighttime. At one instance, Captain Connell and his men made an inspection tour of the town and discovered filthy surroundings, unforested areas, and unsanitary living condition of the Balangiganos. This compelled him to launch a cleanliness campaign to stop the spread of dysentery that was prevalent at that time. He then ordered the residents to cut grasses and clean their surroundings, but they came to know later that the prime concern of the captain was to get rid of the tall grasses and dense thickets surrounding the town, which made excellent hiding places for the insurgents. As a consequence, the measures to implement sanitation were unreasonably misunderstood and courted the ire of the Balangiganos, thinking that they were being oppressed by the white colonizers. The inhabitants did not mind the presence of the Americans, but after a month of occupation, trouble reared its ugly head as the residents felt resentment against the American troops' arrogance and abuses that were left unpunished. These became powder kegs ready to explode. In the island of Samar, General Vicente Lucban has no intentions of surrendering to the enemy. As a result, the Balangiganos were then organized into 7 groups, composed of 70 fighting Bolo men. The first group was under Capitan Eugenio Daza's assistant, Pedro Abayan, the town president. The second group under the command of Capitan Benito Canillas with Teniente Artemio Balais as second in command. The third group, comprising of Bolo men from Barrio Hiporlos, was under the command of Capitan Pedro Abit with Teniente Artemio Balais as his assistant. The fourth group from Barrio Quinapondan was under Capitan Lope Angurin, assisted by Teniente Pelagio Acosta. The fifth group, comprising of men from the Poblacion, was under the command of Capitan Pedro Avila, assisted by Teniente Andres Hilaria. The sixth group, comprising of Bolo men from Barrio Lawaan, was under the leadership of ex-Gobernador Silio Custodio Salazar, and the seventh group under Capitan Valeriano Abanador of Balangiga, who was chosen overall commander of the operations. In a secret meeting somewhere in Sitio Tarusan, northwest of Balangiga, it was agreed that 5 groups were to stay at the outskirts of the town as reserves and to enter only at a given signal, the ringing of the church bells. The brunt of the initial attack was assigned to the 6th and 7th groups. Immediately after the final instructions before midnight of September 27, children, women, and old men were evacuated to safe areas. September 27, some men wearing women's garments joined the group hurrying to enter the church carrying coffins. Out of curiosity, the sergeant of the guard stopped one woman and with a bayonet played open the coffin. Inside, he found the body of the dead child. The sergeant decided to keep off the other coffins, as cholera was widespread during that time. The sentinels on post decided not to inspect the other coffins, lest they get infected with the disease. The dawn of September 28, 1901, promised a perfect day. The cool and calm September was a welcome change from the heat of summer, and the Americans, after a mess call, settled down for breakfast. The enlisted men did not bother to carry their rifles for breakfast. Coming out from the church, Capitan Valeriano Abanador proceeded to the neighborhood and directed the men and pintacaseros in a grass cutting work at the plaza. The quiet ended abruptly when Private Adolf Gamlen walked past the local police chief. Capitan Valles suddenly grabbed the rifle and brought the butt down in smashing blow on the head of the stupefied sentry. As Gamlen crumbled, Capitan Valles waved his garrote above his head and shouted the prearranged signal attacking the Balangiga. The church bells began to ring, at first in a lazy measured cadence, then rising with intensity, and suddenly all hell broke loose. From the hills came the blast of the house shells, announcing the readiness of the bivouac reserves around the town. Kasyana Dulaysana Nationalis, the only woman privy to the secret plans, rushed from the church and with rosary beads waving, extolled and rallied the men to attack. The infuriated populace fell upon the hapless American riflemen, for on that September morning the pent-up emotion suppressed for centuries finally surfaced when every Balangiganon risked his all for freedom and liberty. It was a fierce and bloody hand-to-hand combat between the seasoned veterans and the raw but determined freedom-loving people. The news of the carnage of Company C reached the military command of Tacloban. 48 of the 78 American soldiers were killed during the attack. In the morning of September 30, 1901, the U.S. gunboat Pittsburgh was immediately dispatched to Pasay to bring Company G to Balangiga with orders to bury the dead, retrieve some of the U.S. properties left, and make a report. Company G subjected the town of Balangiga with naval bombardment and indiscriminate firing which killed several Balangiganos. Brigadier General Jacob Smith instructed a kill and burn order to Major Littleton Waller, which meant everyone from 10 years old and older, and turned Balangiga into a holy wilderness. On October 25, 1901, the kill and burn order was made, killing an old man, 2 women and children found in a small clearing near the corridor. As war trophies, the unchallenged Marines brought with them 3 bells taken from the church belfry. As a tribute to the heroism and gallantry of our forebears and all the people who perished during the September 28 incident, this song, Batingauhan Kamurayaw, which also took inspiration from the homecoming of the bells, was written, composed, and interpreted by Miss Cindy Gavan Campanero, a local artist and director of performing arts. She also wrote the song Mga Tunugan Lingana years back, depicting our clamor for hopes and dreams for the bells to come home. The San Lorenzo bell symbolizes hope, love of country, friendship, and fight for truth and justice no matter the cost. In 2018, after years of countless attempts to take back the Balangiga bells, this dream became a reality. On December 15, the bells were finally home where they rightfully belong. As the traditional Aguinaldo Masses begun, the bells rang once again after 117 years, this time in a joyous occasion to usher in the Christmas season, the best gift we ever had. Indeed, poignant and painful stories can become beautiful beginnings.
Kalintang nagtatawag ang mga taong namatigas sa pagpasalamat ha Ginoo. Pamatiliya, hanak ginhaman yung patingawan ka muraya, himati anot ro. Nangalugsog uligat, kay haking hulos, kay atong bundyak. Yanaging balos, pagkaurus ang pagpasaylo. Ang nataman yanapan, mapatagang salamat, ang pagtungod, ang pamuong araw, hinog mga tunog, ang lingganay, alingaw ka ng batinaw, batas ka tuloy na pinangulat, kay nabalanghiga, kamuraya wabot na, nanalugsog uliak, ray haking gulos, kay aton hinggap, yanaging balos, pagkaurusan ang pagpasaylo, ang natanan yanapon, makatagang taman. Nanalugsog ulian, ray haking gulos, kay aton hinggap, Lola ug lolo, nanay ug tatay, inday ug ko'y kali, dulo
Presenting to you our local officials.
Pagray kita, kay dumanat ng mga lingkanay, naging bilang unat ka. Nalugsog pagiyat, kay haking kulos, kay atong hingga, yanaging balos, pagkausang
The lead characters. The guerrillas. The American soldiers. The natives. And the directorial staff. This is a production of the local government unit of Balangiga. Ladies and gentlemen, the production of the local government unit of Balangiga and the performers of the 2024 reenactment of the Balangiga Encounter of 1901. Kay aton hinggap, yanaging balos, pagkaurusan ang pagpasaylo, ang natanan yan aton, makatagang taman.